Hey you guys, it's Cayley. I'm back with another What Sold from last week video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about all the sales that happened last week on both eBay and Poshmark. We'll go over a breakdown of the numbers. I'll tell you about some of my costs as well as a deep dive into some of those items, tell you about why I picked them up, show you the items a little bit, and what to look for. We're just going to dive right in. Okay, so everything that sold last week happened between March 27th through April 2nd. That is a Sunday through a Saturday, and that is how I calculate my weeks. In total, between two platforms, which was eBay and Poshmark, I sold 121 items for a gross sales total of $3,885.79, making my average sale price $32.11. Estimated cost of goods was $484 based on average buy costs, making my estimated net after estimated cost of goods, fees, and shipping costs $2,323.59. We've been seeing this average sale price drop a little lower, but we've been seeing our items sold go up higher. So I'm still happy with that because we're getting the overall same result. On eBay, we sold 82 items. On Poshmark, we sold just 39. Gross sales on eBay were just over $2,800, and they were just over $1,000 on Poshmark. We are going to start with some of the eBay items. I first sold the North Face Women's Thermoball Eco Parka coat. I believe the Eco Parka is basically the Thermoball technology is basically like a downfill substitute, so it's not actually made with downfill from what I can tell based on their website and based on the material tag. So a buyer actually reached out to me and asked if this was an alternative to down because they were allergic to down, and I told them to the best of my ability and from what I could see on the website that it was. And they actually purchased it outright. I actually sent them an offer, but they went ahead and purchased it for full price. I actually paid up for this item. I paid $29.99, so $30, turned it into $150. And I actually purchased this towards the end of the cold weather season, but I was able to search the style number, which was on the inside, figure out the exact style name, which you can see here in the title, do a comp, and found out that it was a pretty valuable and a very high sell-through rate item. I also think it helps that this was a size large. Larger sizes tend to sell faster. Next is this Levi's men's 512 jeans. I absolutely love picking up Levi's, but especially when I find unique ones. So these ones had kind of a unique tag to them. If you ever see this where it has this flag made, I figure out this was the Japanese flag. It might be worth looking into. I had to do a little bit of research. We almost just priced it with regular 512 slim tapers, but I'm glad we took that extra step to figure out what this meant because it means that it is Japanese made. Also found out that most of these were selvage jeans, which I would have to do a whole video on selvage jeans, I feel like, but there's a way to tell selvage jeans. If you're not familiar with it, I would look this up on Google and figure out how to tell because they are extremely valuable. So these made in Japan Levi's jeans are really good, and I would definitely keep your eye out for them. We paid $5 for these, and they sold for a best offer of $90. I think I originally had them priced for $125. So when someone sends me an offer pretty close to that, I am willing to take it to get the item moving. Next up is this Matiere men's brown linen button-up shirt. Definitely keep your eye out for anything linen. I hadn't heard of this brand before, Matiere, but just because it was linen, we went ahead and looked up. And it seems to be a pretty good seller in the linen category. So this one was really interesting because as you can see, it doesn't button down fully. We had this listed for, I want to say about $85, and the buyer offered $70, which we accepted. Originally paid $4.39 for this. This is another higher price sale for us. This is the brand Ann Demulmeister. No idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I only figured out what the brand was by looking at the tag on the inside of the garment. So if you see this, I know it looks unassuming, but if you see this, it is a very high-end brand, and they make really unique, interesting clothing. You can kind of see the straps on this are very interesting. I had this listed very high, but I have been sitting on it for several months, so I decided that I was going to accept a decent offer. I believe I got this at the bins, and we accepted an offer of $60. I want to say I originally had this price for Some were over 100, but like I said, as I've been sitting on it, I've been getting offers around this range, so I went ahead and accepted. Next is a Sundance top. This is a great brand to look for in really unique items. This was also a size extra large, so I think that really helped to sell it, and it was super embroidered in boho, which is kind of what this brand is known for. This is a really gorgeous top in good condition. We picked this up for $4.69, and it sold for $59.93 pretty quickly, which was our full asking price. If you come across this brand, I would start looking into it, because even the stuff that's not multicolor or embroidered, things like cashmere or linen, can do really well in this brand, even if it is plain. This is a pretty tried and true brand for us. It is J. McLaughlin. This brand really reminds me of Lilly Pulitzer, because typically they sell multicolored patterns and prints, which is what they're known for. This one was more of a plain item, but it was 100% cashmere, and that's the main reason for us getting it. Also a size extra large, so that really helped us sell it. We paid $8 for this, so we paid a little up for it, knowing that it was cashmere, and we listed it for $49.93. It did sell for full asking price. This was probably my most interesting sale of the week. This is a vintage religious t-shirt, which I've learned from other vintage resellers. Religious tees can do pretty good depending on the subject matter, the graphic print. So when it comes to selling graphic tees, I try to get a close-up of the graphic. This one, as you can see on the shirt, you might not be able to tell what it is from far back on just a thumbnail photo, so we made sure to take a close-up, and it also said this on the back. So I really liked this shirt, and again, this was my first time finding a vintage religious shirt that I thought was worth picking up, and I'll probably pick them up in the future. I paid only $1.99 for this, and it sold for an offer of $52, which I think was an offer that I sent out to watchers, but some religious vintage shirts can do really well. I would just keep your eye out for them. I thought this was a really cool find. This is a shoe brand we've been picking up several times here lately. It is honestly, hopefully, going to be something we come across often, because it sells really fast for us. The brand is called Ms. Moose, and if you look at it, it doesn't really look like something high quality as far as the tag goes, but they make really high quality leather. So if you touch nice leather, check, see if it's Ms. Moose. They make kind of unique artsy stuff, in my opinion, so I keep an eye out for that. This is probably our third pair that we sold within a month. Like I said, we've just been coming across it, and I'll continue to pick it up. Paid only $4.99 for this one, and it sold for a full asking price of $34.93. This is a vintage skirt. I will say I have been sitting on this for a while, but I do like to share my vintage finds and sales with you. Picked this up because it was super unique. It has almost a full zip front, so very convertible. It is a nice kind of acidy faded black denim, and then it was a button back, and it was a maxi skirt, so a more substantial piece. The brand is just David. I don't really think that that matters necessarily as much as the style, because this was definitely a style-based pickup. Originally paid $2.69 for it. Like I said, I have been sitting on it, but I think that's true for a lot of vintage items. I'm glad it finally sold, and it sold for a pretty decent amount for $37.79. So really happy with that find. Keep your eye out for really unique vintage skirts. This is a brand I do not typically pick up. It is 7 for All Mankind. But the reason I picked this one up was because I noticed it was men's, and in my experience, brands that don't typically perform well in women's sometimes perform well in men's. So when I saw this Austin style name, I knew I had to look it up. And 7 for All Mankind jeans in the men's department seem to be doing pretty well. I sold this pair of Austin men's jeans for $27, which was a best offer. I only paid $4.99 for them. This is an Orvis shirt we just recently got. We paid $2.35 for it. Picked this one up because it was houndstooth, and that is the print that you see here. Houndstooth is really good, especially in the colder weathers. It is a very unique print and pattern, so we usually keep our eye out for it because we think it adds value. This is kind of a thick flannel shirt. I would almost call it a shirt jacket, and it was a size extra large. Orvis is an outdoorsy brand, and it does really well for us. We sold this for $34.93. Like I said, we only paid a couple bucks for it, and I would keep your eye out for it because thrift stores don't seem to price Orvis up very high, at least in my area. This is a pair of Y2K Skechers that we found at the bins. You can see there is a little bit of mark on them, but they're in overall pretty great condition. I think they just need wiped down a little bit more. Anything with this chunky clog, I've talked about it before, so I won't go too much into it, but anything Y2K looking is doing really well right now. I would just make sure to put Y2K into your title. And the bins is a great place to experiment with picking up shoes based on a Y2K style because you're getting them for cheaper, and it's probably not something people are picking up because they think it's vintage and older, and Skechers isn't typically a brand that resellers are grabbing for. So I paid a few bucks for these at the bins, and they sold for $35. Picked up this Lululemon men's shorts at a regular thrift store. I paid only $2.99 for it. I was really happy that they did not price these up. I don't think they knew what they were because there wasn't a pull tag, but I kind of wanted to show you these because a lot of people don't know that Lululemon sells men's, but also this is a very not typical for Lululemon in my opinion. These look they're not typically multicolored, they're usually more plain. I only paid $2.99 like I said, and they sold for $34.92, so keep your eye out. I was able to touch these and feel by the quality that they were probably Lululemon, but they're making stuff that isn't typical of them. This is one of our new favorite brands to sell in the men's department is Johnny O. If you see this logo, definitely keep your eye out for it. It is Johnny O. These are a pair of just men's casual pants. They're kind of a khaki type, and we picked them up for $4.99. They sold on a best offer for $28. Really happy with Johnny O. It performs well in polos, it performs well in pullovers, it just overall performs well. Next up is a pair of J. Jill shorts. Wanted to show you these because J. Jill performs really well for us, but we love looking for the Love Linen line. And so if you see this line and you don't typically pick up J. Jill, it might be worth getting, as are a lot of linen pieces during this time of the year. So these are just a pair of really cool striped shorts. We had them listed for $24.89 and they sold on an offer to watcher for $22.40. We paid $4.39 for them. This is also a brand I would keep your eye out for. It is XCVI. I pick up almost everything in this brand. There's also a line called XCVI Wearables that I also pick up. To touch it, they don't feel like anything high quality, but they have a super big following and they have kind of a grungy, artsy, sometimes lagging look. So I paid only $2.25 for this at a thrift store. Definitely not a brand I think that the thrift stores know about. I put the skirt up for $24.92. It sold on offer to watcher for $22.43. And this is just a skirt, so it didn't sell for as much, but they do make longer pants, like flare grungy looking pants that do really well. And I've also sold some of their dresses for a higher price. This is a brand, only time coming across it, only time selling it, but it's Gumps San Francisco. If you come across this, I would do a comp on it because they're very unique and artsy and they seem to have a following, which is why I picked them up in the first place. I paid $5.39 for it and it sold for $24.29. This is Lily Pulitzer. I pick up almost everything in this brand, even the Target collaboration sometimes will pick up. This is a women's Havana dress, which is a pretty typical style in this brand and in my opinion is a little bit oversaturated, so it doesn't sell for a lot. I paid $4.29 for it. It sold on an offer for $25. I was willing to let it go for that much because like I said, there's a lot of these on eBay. Next up is something I've been experimenting with, which is picking up graphic t-shirts at the bins if I think they've got a good enough style. This one happens to be a Grateful Dead graphic band tee. Definitely not vintage, or I would have priced it way higher, but it is a modern women's graphic tee, which people are really into right now. So I picked this up at the bins for probably $1. It did sell for my full asking price very quickly of $24.92. Another bins pickup is this Knox Rose women's bohemian top. And even with the smaller size, this still sold for a full asking price of $24.92. And these are really lightweight to pick up, so I probably paid only 50 cents for this. So I was really happy with that flip. This is one of our favorite brands to sell. Here is another graphic t-shirt that I picked up at the bins. This is Thrasher magazine. This stuff does really well for me. Honestly, the sell-through rate doesn't show that it's there on eBay, but I have no problem selling it. I try to stick to the ones that are in really good condition. This one sold for full asking price of $19.93, and those graphic tees are really just good bread and butter filler items for me. Moving on to Poshmark, we sold this True Religion bomber jacket. I paid up for this $7.99. If you see men's True Religion jackets, definitely worth doing a comp on. They can flip for really good money. And, you know, also their jeans, but their jeans are what they're known for. Typically, I'm not looking for jackets, so when I saw this spell out, I had to look it up, and it was doing pretty good. So again, I paid up. I paid about $8 for it, and it sold for $58 very quickly. This is a brand I've been experimenting with getting. The brand is Revelry, and they make bridesmaid dresses, and this was a size large. I was expecting to sit on this for a little bit longer, but I'm really happy that it sold so quickly. I picked this up at the bins. Typically, I'm not picking up any kind of formal wear because I think it sits too long, but I've noticed that this brand seems to perform pretty well. I think because it's a more modern brand and people are looking for exact styles. Maybe they can't get their dress on time. Maybe it gets lost in shipment and they need it right away. If you've got the right information in there, they will buy yours. So I picked this up at the bins. I probably paid about $5 because it is such a more substantial piece. It probably weighed quite a bit, but it sold on an offer for $90, and I was really happy with that return on investment. This is a Trina Turk women's silk maxi dress. Trina Turk is something that typically retails for quite a bit, but does not always resell for a lot. I took a chance on this one because it was silk and because it kind of had that 70s print to it and was a longer length dress. So for all of those stacking factors, I picked it up. I paid $2.99. I find that the 70s psychedelic look does really well right now. Everybody's kind of into that 70s trend. So if you see anything like this, you might just pick it up for style. I can't remember what I had this listed for. I want to say it was probably like $65, and I accepted an offer of $50. This is a Free People item. You guys know I like selling Free People dresses. I wanted to point this one out because we paid $4.99 for it. We did not realize that there was a spot and the top button was also missing. But I'm still glad we picked it up because it was a more unique dress, and even with those flaws, it still sold for $34. Great return on investment. I don't always recommend picking up things with flaws, but sometimes it can be worth it. This is a Kate Spade bag. It is a diaper bag, but I think it can also be used as a handbag. Their diaper bags do really good. I paid up for this. This was at a Goodwill. I paid $14.99 for it, and it sold for $75. It did take a few months to sell, but I am glad with the return on investment that I did go ahead and pick it up. Kate Spade in general is a good handbag brand to sell, but I'm trying to stick to the more modern pieces. This is kind of a random find. If you see this tag, I would look into it. The brand is Indigenous, and they make really nice wool and alpaca pieces. This one's alpaca and organic cotton and made in Peru. All of those factors led me to go ahead and pick this up. I paid $4.69 for it, and it sold for $59. I love picking up pieces like this. Really high quality wools and alpacas, even regardless of brand, I usually pick them up. Next up is a pair of Frye boots. I paid $4.99 for these. I don't think the thrift store priced these up because they thought they were way too distressed. But Frye boots is known for having distressed boots, and I think these also are an older style, which is also the reason for the distressing. But Frye is a great quality leather brand to pick up, and even if it's got distressing, I find that it still sells. These were a really nice rare find because of that harness buckle, and they sold for $120. So if you get a pair of Fry boots that's a little bit distressed, make sure you find the style and you really dig deep into comps, because you might be throwing money away by pricing it too low. Next up is another Lululemon piece. This one is a women's Lululemon. I wanted to showcase this one because of the importance of finding the exact style name. These are called the Moto Bust and Move skinny pants or leggings, and I was able to find that using the information on the tag, but you can also find that information on the size dot. We did not take a picture of it here, but Lululemon is so important to look up the exact style name if you can, because it can make or break what you're going to list it for. So I paid $3.99 for these, and it sold on an offer for $42. These are a pair of Prana pants. We paid a little up for these. We paid $6.99, but Prana performs extremely well for us in pants and especially in the men's department. These are actually a pair of jeans, slim fits. I haven't found Prana jeans before. We've always just found the hiking pants, but the jeans seem to do pretty good as well. Again, we paid $6.99 for them, and they sold for $28. This is a Patagonia men's R2 zigzag textured half-zip pullover sweatshirt. Patagonia outerwear in general is really awesome to pick up. Size large is a great size in the men's category, but this is another one of those brands that you definitely want to look for the style number on the inside, which is right here. You can look this up on Google. You can also look it up on that website. I think it's called like pcpia.com. Something like that, but that's how I always look up the exact style name to get my comps, and it really helps to put the exact style name in your title. This one we paid $5.99 for, and it sold for $60. This is another linen piece. Picked this up mainly for style for $4.39 at a thrift store. The brand is Alessia Pacini. I'm not 100% sure about the sell-through rate on this. Again, we mostly picked it up based on style, material, and the fact that it was a 2X, but I keep your eye out for pieces like this. This one sold for $42. Here's those Steve Maddens that I showed on my Instagram. Everybody was really excited about these, so I'm happy to report back what they sold for. I paid $10 for these. Again, with that chunky Y2K, even sometimes 90s look, Steve Madden shoes in this era seem to do really, really good. So these are a pair of chunky leather boots. You can see they've got some distressing on them. We did try to clean that up with leather conditioner, but this is just how the color came out. And still, they sold on an offer for $95, so $10 and a $95. Really happy with that return on investment. This is a Helly Hansen jacket. I kind of took a chance on this one because when I was looking up these kinds of jackets, they didn't have a high sell-through rate, but I thought mine was a little bit more substantial, and so I picked it up. This is a size extra large men's kind of barn coat, and it has a really nice leather collar. You can see there's a little bit of flaws here, just a couple of spots, but overall in really great condition. I paid $6.99 for this, and it sold for $60, and surprisingly it sold within days of getting it listed. This is one of my favorite brands to sell in the men's category. It is John Varvatos. I wanted to showcase this one because Nikki found out that this stitching, for some reason, it is like really popular as a keyword to put single stitch into these John Varvatos listings when they have this contrast unique stitching. And apparently that's something that buyers look for. So we paid $4.39 for it. It sold for $29. If you've got something like this, I would definitely look into that single stitch because you might want to put it into your title. It made a big difference on this selling. This is Girlfriend Collective. It is one of my new favorite athletic wear brands to find. This is just a light gray wrap top. I'm trying to find you the brand here. Here we go. It doesn't look like much, but the stuff has a really great following. Super soft, cozy material. I only paid $1 for this, and it sold for $29. They also sell bottoms, which I really like selling the leggings in this brand. This is a pair of Merrell shoes. We picked these up at the bins, and they're just a nice pair of strappy leather sandals. I really love the brand Merrill. I'll pick them up in sandals. I'll pick them up in hiking shoes. Overall, just a great brand to sell. And especially during this time of the year, their sandals are going to start to perform really well. And you can always see kind of a style name or a colorway here on the tag, which makes them really easy to look up and to list. So again, I picked these up for a couple bucks at the bins, and they sold for a full asking price on Poshmark of $29. Last up is another athletic wear brand. These are a pair of Aloe leggings. I talk about these a lot because when you look them up on eBay, they don't seem to have 100% sell-through rate. However, I never have a problem moving them. They move very quickly for us, and so I continue picking them up. These were a very unique, kind of not typical of Aloe. They were a pastel pink velvet legging, and we picked them up for $3.99. They sold for $42, which is pretty high in my opinion for Aloe leggings, so I'd keep your eye out for some more unique ones.
Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the notification bell. That way you'll get notified as this kind of content goes live on my channel. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.